Tonight I'm going to make a very, very simple vegan-friendly pea soup. It's a quick soup that you can make anytime. The two fundamental things you need to have is some frozen peas, which we often have in our fridge, and some red onions, and then this little tool, which is one of my favorite tools, which is an immersion blender. Of course you can do it with a normal blender, but this one, it's really, really quick. It's one of my favorite kitchen tools. I literally travel with this because I'm very fond of soup in winter, and I find it's very easy to just chuck some vegetable into the pot with a bit of boullion, and like in 20 minutes then you just use this and you have a perfectly wonderful soup. So what we're going to need is a bit of olive oil. I'm going to put a splash of olive oil already in this, and a couple of onions. I have half a packet of frozen peas, is about 400 grams, and then some vegan boullion. As I said, I like to do this vegan friendly, and some chili sauce, which I understand is also vegan. So first thing to do is to cut the onions in big chunks. Really doesn't need. The beauty of using an immersion blender for soups is that it means you don't have to cut the vegetables too small when you actually prepare it, which is the opposite of minestrone. Minestrone takes hours to make just because you're going to cut all the bits of vegetables into nice, aesthetically pleasing chunks. But when you do a cream of vegetables, that's not necessary. So, as you can see, it takes no time whatsoever. Cut the red onion in big chunks and then put it in on the pot and the stove with some olive oil, so that it actually fries a bit, roasts a bit, and that is going to increase the flavor of the soups if the onions have fried a bit. In the meantime, I have warmed up some hot water, which I will need, because once the vegetables are sort of like initially fried, and then I add the peas. If I add cold water to the mix, it's going to lower the temperature, which is it's going to be pretty low anyway, because the peas I've just taken out of the fridge, of the freezer. And that's one of the other nice things. This is something literally you can decide to make at the last moment. You come back from work, you don't know what to do. It's a cold winter night. It's actually really lovely in the summer as well. I sometimes have it for breakfast, even leftover or not, because pea proteins, and I like savoury breakfast anyway. But if everything is too cold, then the way the vegetable fibre works, it's not as pleasing as if we actually have hot water in it. So I'm going to get a wooden spoon. This is like, as I said, just fry a bit the red onions, and a bit of salt. I like to use red onions for this. I like to use red onions in general, but for some reason I find that red onions are both sweet and pungent in a way that is slightly different from other onions. I would need to investigate that, because it's quite interesting. And the combination of that sweetness and pungency together with the sweetness of the peas gives this specific soup the lovely texture and flavour that characterizes it. It's so easy. It's ridiculous, and it's unbelievable that something so simple can actually taste that good. The trick, I would say, the trick for this is to get the saltiness right, and the chili as well. So there it is. I mean, there we go. The onion is frying a bit. So what I'm going to do now is to just add the peas. Literally, it's still frozen. Salt. And I'm doing this organic, gluten-free, vegan-friendly bouillon. Of course, it's dairy-free as well. Because that enhances the taste. Now, one important thing, I don't put mint. I'm not fond of it in general as a savory mix. It's just my specific taste, and I live most of my time in a country where the peas seem not to be able to be eaten without mint. But so then I'm going to add boiling water. I have very, very cleverly brought up a measuring cup to use. My habit of actually just pouring in stuff. This is why it's really difficult for me to explain recipes, because I just do them, and so I don't know how much water I put in there, just enough to cover the onions and the peas, and I'm going to just leave that on its own to cook. I think this is going to take about 20 minutes. I think in 20 minutes this will start to, will be cooked enough for us to then into the immersion bread. So I would say that whole preparation of the soup would take about half an hour. So I'll see you later. So this has been happily bubbling away now for about 15 minutes. It's going to boil and so forth. And I think it's basically ready for us to go with the food processor, which is the fun bit of it. So now I tend to do it while it's on the heat, because I feel like if you let it to cool down, the vegetables cool down, and then when you grate the fiber, it's not quite as nice. And already with this, you will get a bit of the, you can get a bit of the pea skin, kind of like crunchy, and it goes against the smoothness. Of course, the best way to avoid that would be to pass it through a sieve. This is a quick one, so there's no reason to spend all that energy doing that. So we're going to go into it. And here we are. Now, at this point, it's a good idea to check the saltiness of it. So I'm going to add a bit of taste. It's quite delicious. If I may say so myself. Yeah, right. Just right. The bouillon somehow exalts the taste, the back taste of the onion. And it's just really nice. So in order to enhance it a bit, I'd say add a few drops, according to individual taste, depending on how you like it, of chili sauce. It's not necessary, but it's a possibility. and that's it. It's ready to go. To be honest, I mean, honestly, do we need a video for this? Again, I rest my case. This is something so simple to cook. You know, you just come home, take some frozen peas out of the fridge, and a couple of onions, and 20 minutes later you have a really, really tasty soup that you have cooked yourself, and it is fresh. You know what's in there. It's got no preservatives or anything like that, and it's fabulous. So what's stopping you? Now, just a couple of things. This it's really nice if you put a crouton. You put a crouton in it, and sometimes I actually poach an egg. You poach an egg and then you sit the egg in your bowl of pea soup. And again, it's delicious, and it's, well, that's not the vegan version, patently. But, you know, the soup is vegan. What you do with it, it's a different matter. Anyway, try it. It's really, really worth it, and so simple. And I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.